Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Make Stuff. This is Ron, and today we are going to cover global values and randomizing events with those global values. So first, let's start by looking at the global values, and I'm just tracking 6 here, one for each quote-unquote event. So I'm representing, more than likely you're going to have complex events attached to those. Mine are just going to be attached to whether these units make it to this waypoint. So I'm going to keep talking about like the unit move or the unit this. Again, that's my scenario that I'm making here for you guys. It's supposed to be the simple demonstration, but again, you're more than likely going to have complex scenarios. So the other thing I want to mention is I can see the power in doing some of this with the global values with the event sequences, but I really haven't used the event sequences for anything yet. I've been able to accomplish everything I've wanted to accomplish in this game without using event sequences so far. And as you guys kind of saw from the preliminary video there, I got the randomization working here as well without using any event sequences. So first we'll start off by how we start. So I have initialized like I do everywhere else, and so what we do to start is we just simply say there's a 34% chance that we're going to fire event 1, so set my global value of whether this event has fired to 1, and then we have a 33% chance of firing event 2, so set the value to 1. Or we're just using the else here to say, to finish out that other 33%. So that'll give us our 100%, quote unquote, that's going to make up the starting of the randomization. So here you can play with the percentages if you want to try to tweak it so one hits more than the other. You're just going to have to kind of play it to finesse it to your liking. And so this will start whether this dude, or this dude is running towards the waypoint. And so the other thing that then we do is we're going to say, all right, unit 1 has made it, or I'm sorry, event 1 has fired. Let's start by saying before he made it. So event 1 is fired. We set the global value that we're tracking to true because we're just signaling that we've started. And so what we want to do is tell infantryman 1, this guy, to move here when this event starts. So we're just going to track that logic really quick. So then what we would do is go to 1 at waypoint. So this is the blue ring. Once the soldier is inside this blue ring, then we are going to say event 1 has been completed. So again, in your case, you may have a series of small objectives for the player to do, or a single objective at the random thing you're doing. Again, it's really up to you on how complex you're making this. But I would recommend trying to limit the amount of randomization events that you do, because as you'll see here in a second, it can quickly stack up. So if you are wanting to make like 10 events, you might quickly be overwhelmed. Like I said, you'll see what I mean here in a minute. And so when unit 1 is at the waypoint, we want to randomly tell unit 2 or unit 3 to go if they haven't gone. That's the key part there, because you can break the chain if they've gone and an issue would occur. But the problem is ultimately that we're introducing, by a choice that we're making as people designing the mission, we want randomness. So when that randomness occurs, you don't know what's already happened and hasn't already happened. So you have to ask, and that's what those global values are for. So again, we're on the trigger of unit 1 has made it to the waypoint. So for unit 2 and 3 to go if they haven't gone. So we fire a 40% chance, and then this is where I say it's 50. Again, in the game, the 50% chance is really rigid on allowing the back and forthness between what you would want out of a coin flip. And I found if you kind of tone that down to 40%, it helps a lot. It really gets the effect of flipping a coin and then having it land on heads and tails between 1 and 4 times, versus when I've been testing with 50%, some of those runs go for like up to 20 times, and it's just Again, I get it. It's random. It's just pure chance. But I just found it to be a little bit more friendly down at 40. Anyway, so if my coin flips to true, I'm going to tell 2 or 3 to go. And if my coin lands on false, I'm going to tell 3 or 2 to go. There's a reason we do that. It's because we're prioritizing which event is going to occur, but both may still occur in each one of these conditionals. And here's what we mean. Here's what I mean. So when we come here, remember we're putting the preference to start 2 first. So if 2 hasn't gone yet, so if 2 is completed as false, remember if you're not for programming, global value stuff, with integers like this in this game, you can use 0 as false and 1 as true. It's true with most programming language. Will be 0 will be false, empty, off, and 1 will be true, on, or I should say any non-zero value will be, but we'll just say 1. So if 2 hasn't gone, fire 2. And if 2 has gone, we're going to check to see if 3 has gone, and if he has not, so false, 0. We want to say that 3 has gone. And here I don't care to use the else because it's going to be one of these conditions is going to prove true when 1 goes, because my when trigger will trigger when all 3 events have gone, and this else condition won't matter because when 1 finishes, this will fire or this will fire or the game will be complete. So I don't need to fill this else condition in. So now we're back at the above level conditional editor where we were sending 2 or 3 first, and now we're going to send 3 or 2 first. So it's the same thing but just reversed. So has 3 gone? False. Cool. Set event 3 to fire. Alrighty. If event 3 has been completed, check to see that event 2 has been completed. If that's false, fire event 2. And again, same thing. If one of these conditions are going to prove true, or the game's going to end. So we don't need the else conditional here. And so now, whenever dude 1 makes it to the waypoint, 2 or 3 will randomly start running to it. And then we can see that similar logic on 2 at waypoint. We set the fact that 2's been completed. So again, you might not have just a unit running to a waypoint. You're going to have a complex series of events or something, and when that last event occurs, you're going to signal your Boolean global value that it has been completed. And then you're going to randomly tell 1 or 3 to go if they haven't gone, because this part's really where the trickiness comes in with the depths of these visual editors that you're using. So again, we fire a random chance in the outer layer though. So at a coin flip, we're going to tell 1 or 3 to go. So that's why we see 1 or 3 or 1. So if we're heads, we prioritize unit 1. If we're tails, we prioritize unit 3. And this is the exact part here where if you have 10 things you're trying to do, you're going to have just stacks of else if statements just trying to get which event is running, because you have to know. And because, like I said, of the randomization, you just don't know what has occurred and what hasn't occurred. There's no sequential order. So saying 1 has gone and then 2 has gone, do this, you don't know if 1 and 2 have gone yet. That's why everything has to be individually tracked, and that's why there's both branches in these outer conditionals. So that's why you see the sub if else inside here, or sorry, the sub if else if, and then same thing here, sub if else if. All right, here we go. So same thing but just reversed. And then we're going to see that for unit 2 as well. So unit 3, I apologize. So we're gonna, when he makes it here, we're gonna fire off the fact that he's complete, or again, your complex series of events are complete, and then we're gonna randomly tell event 1 or event 2 to move. So again, we flip a coin, and then if it's heads, we're gonna prioritize unit 1. If it's tails, we're gonna tell 2 to go. And here, likewise, if it's false, we're going to tell unit 2 to go over unit 1. And so here is where you're going to stack outer percentages for the same inner conditionals that you have to check. So again, if you have 10 events here and you want to make sure that everything's firing evenly, you would add a conditional chance in here to say that this out of 10 events has a 10% chance, so everything has an equal chance. So again, you kind of want to play with that percentage to know based on the number of random events that you have and yada yada yada. So again, if I would go here and say chance 10%, like the chance is the same because I personally would want, if there are 10 events, I'm not trying to weight one more important than another. I'd have 10 events all with a 10% chance of firing. It's just the way I see it. So in my case though, that's why you saw at the beginning it was a 33%, and the else, which filled up the other 33%, but which brought me to my quote-unquote 100% chance of something being picked. Anyway, so this is the logic to make things like this work. So it's really up to you on how deep you make these conditional checks based on how many events that you have and how many values that you have to track. So I look forward to seeing some of this potentially complex or even relatively more simple stuff, because adding randomizations to missions can really change the dynamic of the mission. So like in my Slavovian conflict mission 4, my combat air patrol will randomly go clockwise or counterclockwise around the island, and it can really change the variance of how that mission works out for you. But anyway, I can't wait to see all your guys' random events and random scenarios in the Steam Workshop, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Oh, and the other thing that I wanted to show that I kind of forgot was my win objective. I made a quick mention of it, but wanted to make sure to show it. So the win objective is a conditional win, which just simply specifies the fact that event 1, event 2, and event 3 all need to have a true value to be completed, and when that occurs, we win. And so this thing's just the first objective. It's just going to be, it's starting immediately. It's just going to be listening for that condition from the get-go. So whenever my logic sets all that to true by these guys contacting the waypoint, the mission will successfully end and you'll see the green smoke.